This is Tom's World Beer Tour, a podcast story featuring Tom Bowman and Tom Bradley. Now, crack one open and let the tour begin.
Yeah, it's going to be a tour. It's going to be a tour today. We came up with a wonderful idea for this episode, which is episode number 375. Or did I lose track?
24.
Well, at least I was close.
Right.
Number 24. We got all the cameras up. So
we do.
So Chris.
Not only do we have all the cameras. Oh, I don't have Chris's camera up yet.
Okay, all right. No. He's coming on during the conversation?
He will. So we're using 4 cameras today. So we have a camera on you and I, which if you're watching this as a Facebook or YouTube video, you can see this. If you're listening to us as a podcast, where once again, wherever you download and subscribe to podcasts, feel free to go look up Tom's World Beer Tour, hit subscribe, get it every Thursday morning. Always have to remind
There's nothing wrong if you get it every Thursday morning. You talk about a ritual and a.
If you got up every Thursday morning and it was there waiting for you, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I'm a morning guy.
That's right. So we have our 2 cameras.
You know your testosterone level can vary according to times of the day?
Nope.
Yes.
How do you know that?
Yes.
Do you have a meter?
Yeah, I got a little. You want to see it?
No. No, please no. I know that we're not out at.
It's
like
very much like a VU meter,
Yeah.
so it's going to show you. It's a needle. It's going to show you.
I know that we are not at a venue somewhere, but we are in my home, so let's not do that.
Is anyone else here besides the 3 of us?
No, it's boys right now, boys only.
We can talk meters and testosterone, and I
prefer to use meters instead of inches. That's fantastic. Thank you.
My testosterone is highest in the. You want to guess?
I'm going to go with, knowing you.
Yes.
I'm going to say at about 6:20 in the morning.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if I was to get it every Thursday as
at 6:20 in the morning,
that'd be like, yeah.
Well, here's the good news.
Thursday mornings at 6 o'clock, I'd be like finishing my coffee. I'm ready.
If you go to your favorite podcast home and you look up Tom's World Beer Tour and you hit subscribe, I promise you at 6:20 every morning, every Thursday morning, it'll be there. So we got that going on.
I appreciate you.
We do have a third camera. I'll just do a little teaser here real quick. There's the third camera. So
I don't have him turned on with the.
No. Just looking at him for a second. So for those of you that are watching, the handsome older male model, also known as the drone pilot, he who has no shifter. He's got a lot of names. He is here, and we're going to join him in just a little bit. And then we've got this extra camera that I'm going to bring up solo. That's us.
I really think you do this for those people that listen to the podcast to tease them into watching the video.
To go watch it, because we don't really address the cameras. We just have a conversation.
Well,
but
why
it's
don't
fun
you
to watch.
Tell them what the 4th camera is.
So the 4th camera is looking at all 3 of us. It's off in the corner, and it's looking into the bar area downstairs in my house.
Yeah.
And so you got the bar behind me, right? This whole thing, and you can see Chris over here to my left. The camera's right, I guess.
And you can see me waving right now.
See you waving. And this is our setup. For those of you that have seen you and I do this from my bar, this is really what it looks like.
This is the most typical place we're ever going to find ourselves is back at your place, either at the bar inside or right outside in your enclosed.
But today was not that day.
No, it's hotter than hell out there. This is going to be really exciting. We talk about the World Beer Tour, and today we're going to have our own mini beer tour in honor of a beer festival that's coming up. This weekend in our area. Now, this is going to be the 11th annual Missouri Beer Festival. And if you hear me talk about it tonight, I'm not trying to sell it because we're pretty much sold out.
Yeah.
But I am going to brag. There's 2 different things. Like, hey, folks, get My Pillow. Go to mypillow.com. That's selling, okay? Bragging.
That's an awful product.
No, Mike. Who's the guy that Mike? What's his name? Lindell.
Moron.
Mike Moron Lindell. He sits around the bar. He's like, and I'll tell you something else. I own a pillow company, huh?
Hey,
I own a pillow company. We'll come back and we'll check it out.
Hey,
I think he's actually clean.
You kids having a party over there?
Yeah, having a party. So I am going to brag a little bit, but I have to start off telling you something. And I've mentioned this before to other people, but a little bit of a confession here. When I made plans to put on the very first Missouri Beer Festival, I had never been to a beer festival.
Really?
Yeah.
So you didn't know good or bad?
Nothing. I knew nothing.
So you did it in the way that you felt like if you were going to go to a beer festival, you'd want it to be.
I think to a certain extent, but I think you could do about 20 different styles of a beer festival, and I would like every single one of them. And this year's is going to be outside next to the Missouri River.
Which Once again, if you're a regular viewer / listener to Tom's World Beer Tour, that's where we were last week.
Right, at Cooper's Landing.
Right on the river.
So that's pretty cool. You're at a big, big river, outside event, hundreds of people tasting beer. We've been in enclosed places for all these, and in more toward the early spring or late winter around February and March. Right. I think there's a lot of ways you could skin this bitch, but I think what's interesting is we made it work that first year, and I had never even been to one. So about 2 months after my first beer festival, I went to one, and it was in Herman, Missouri. And I knew the guy was running it. He was actually, at the time, was a major insurance agent in his area and a Missouri state representative. And he ran a brewery, and he ran his beer festival. And
How did he have time for anything?
I don't know. Energetic guy.
When do you think his testosterone was at its highest? Never.
All day long.
Never.
Oh, he was eating it up all day long. His name was Don, and I walked up to Don, and I think he was cranky from working the beer festival because I'm walking around with a sampling glass. I'm like, this is great, man. I'm drinking beer. I go, so this is what it's like to attend a beer festival. And he goes, what? I go, well, I've only worked them. And I think he got pissed. He was like, well, that's what I'm doing right now. And he just turned and walked away from me. I'm like, Don, come back. And I was like, it was fun to be an attendee.
What a crybaby.
I know.
What a cry. And we're going to see, this is the first that a lot of us are seeing what will be the tasting glass.
Well, we couldn't go with actual glass because we're Riverside, and so we had to go with one like
that's plastic.
It's that high quality acrylic stuff.
This was last year's.
Yeah, that's glass. And this is that high quality, and but we're going to recycle it if people don't want to take it home. If they do, they can take it home. But here's the deal. We have a bunch of beers to have our own little beer festival today. Mm-hmm. And you sent me pictures of everything you had, and you've got quite a selection going on.
We've had people over to the house a lot lately. So when people come over to the house, and you're good at this too, right? You don't show up empty-handed. So,
is Chris bothering you?
No.
Okay.
Just a tip for those that are coming to someone's house. Don't show up empty-handed, especially when it comes to beer. So a lot of beer shows up at my house. I can't drink all this beer by myself.
Right.
So it builds up, whether it's in the fridge down here below the bar or it's in the cooler that's out in the basement area. So this morning you said, hey, let's do a little – once again, this morning.
The planning that goes into this, yeah.
You said, hey, let's just do a little mini beer fest. I go, great. Right. Let me show you what I already have so we can get rid of it. So I came down here and took pictures of all the various most of it were IPAs because I tend to like IPAs. A lot of people that came over the holiday weekend also like IPAs. So we got a little smattering of that. And then you brought some as well, and we'll just talk about our love of beer again. And once again, this is not a show necessarily about beer all the time.
I'm not sure. We're getting a double echo out of somewhere. It might be from over here.
Oh, time to mute that.
Check that one.
Camera.
I'm not sure.
That's right.
All right, so I looked at the beers that you showed me, and I went and picked up some singles. That's a hefty one. So we've got a bunch to try. Don't pour any of your samples deep, okay?
No, of course not.
Because I think we're going to get through like 10 different beers.
I know. Should I just bring some of them out? Is that?
No, not till we bring our conversational on.
Got it.
Which the conversational beer today is a beer festival. So no one beer that we're drinking is.
And we should really talk about our beer festival experiences because once again, we like to talk about things that while we live in mid-Missouri.
Yeah.
Not everyone that listens to us or watches us does. And so there are beer festivals wherever you live. I promise you, if you Google Beer Festival Texas, you're going to find a ton of them.
Would you like me to share a beer story with you now, beer fest story?
I would like that.
All right. So we've never, at our beer festivals, we've never had any kind of a major issue. And we always have uniformed and armed law enforcement agents on premises with us, as we will this year as well.
Right. People are drinking.
And so everybody seems to behave themselves when you walk in, and the first thing you see is a cop with a gun on their holster. Everybody behaves themselves, So everybody does great, and I love that. I love that they are there, and they're off duty, but we pay them handsomely. So everybody behaves themselves. But there was one year I had a guy come to me toward the end of the beer fest. About 15 minutes left, which you can feel everything turning because people start leaving, even while there's still beer being poured. And the band's like, we're going to do one more for you. This is about being on the road. It's called Turn the Page, or whatever the hell they're saying. And so a guy comes up to me. He goes, hey, you run the beer festival, right? And I go, yeah. He goes, I'm looking for my friend. And I go, okay. I'm like the help committee. What can I do?
So now it's like Kmart when you were a kid. Attention, Kmart shoppers. We have a lost child up here by the blue light that's flashing. Would you please come up here and retrieve little Billy?
Yeah. So I say, well, what does he look like? So he describes him to me. And I say, I haven't seen him. And he goes, I think he may have had too much to drink. And I said,
at a beer festival.
I said, do you guys have a ride home? He goes, yeah, none of us are driving, but we got to find him. Okay. So I look around a little bit. I find nothing. He comes up. Now it's getting thinner in the crowds. He comes up to me. And he says, we haven't had any luck. And I'm like, I'm really, really sorry. Is there a chance that maybe, I don't even know if we had rideshare that much available back then, but I said, is there available? He called a cab or something like that. And he goes, I don't know. We're going to keep looking. Okay. I'm working on cleaning up, and we're packing up my huge van, and everything's getting down. Now I look around this, whatever it is, 30,000 square feet area, whatever it is. I look around and I go, we're pretty much empty. Let's roll. I get in the vehicle with my buddy Jonathan. We go to leave. Now, the parking lot at this huge facility has the grassy knoll islands. Really nice between some of the parking areas. Nice pine trees growing and flowered up and about 10 feet wide. And I go I'm pulling down. I look over, and there's a dude sleeping on one of those islands. And it is, what is it? It's all of 5 o'clock in the evening.
Right.
It was sunny at about 72 degrees. And he's all cuddled up on there, just snoozing away. And I look at him like, that's the dude.
Yeah.
So I parked the car in the middle of the drive, and I go to step out, and here comes a minivan, and the sliding door opens, and the guy goes,
oh, my God,
dude.
like a kidnapping?
Well, like that, but he slides it open. He can only see me. He slides it open. He goes, dude, have you seen my friend yet? And I'm like, we got him over here. And he pulls around, and the guy gets up. He goes, we've been looking for you. He goes, I've been waiting for you.
I've been right here.
I've been right here waiting for you. He climbs in there like this. He must have been asleep there for at least 2 hours.
Let me ask you a couple of follow-up questions here.
Mm-hmm.
This gentleman in particular, longish, hippie-ish type beard?
No, I think he was clean shaven.
All right. Any sort of purchased over the border, cool, long Mexicali type sweater type thing that's on, perhaps?
No. Why? Do you think you know the person?
Well, it wasn't. I thought maybe it was the Big Lebowski. The way you were
it
describing
was not.
this guy,
it was not the Big Lebowski.
The dude was sleeping underneath the pine tree.
It was really funny. I was like, wow, well, you got him. And I was like, all's well that ends well. Let's all go home.
Yeah. The only gripe I have about certain beer fests is that there's usually food, right, which we like, right. And there's plenty of beer to sample, and you got to be careful because once again, you got a cup about this big, and there's 30 samples.
Yeah,
right. That's a lot of beer when you and you can go back as
many
times
times as you want. Well, there's more than
want.
30 samples.
Well, rough number.
No, there's like 125.
Well, like I said, 30 is a rough number.
But different beers you can sample. The problem is, if you go around and have 30 little samples like that, you've probably had enough. And I'm not talking about driving. I'm talking about just getting home.
Just to be able to walk.
Yeah. And so, one year I told somebody, I said, no, there's way too much beer. You won't be able to sample every one. And he's like, challenge accepted.
That's right.
And I go, no challenge. No challenge. It no hurt you. No good. And I'm like, I don't know why I went to that, but it's no good, no challenge. I can't, and it's not fair for me because I'm running the beer festival. I do get to sip some beer, but not as much as everybody else.
Right.
And so I've done a couple now in the Kansas City area where I've had some, and one in particular where I had I probably had 20-ish, 23 different beers.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but there's 125 sitting there. So you got to choose it wisely. If you don't like a sour, you don't like a dunkel, or you don't like a porter, then don't go there and have the ones that you do like and enjoy. Try something you're not aware of.
Well, and here's a tip, because a lot of these beer fests, you won't be able to buy this, but if you want to really be a pro, you get a long piece of string, and you just load up a whole shit ton of pretzels on that string.
Apparently that's the thing.
And you tie that string around your neck, and now you got, it looks like the old candy necklace, but it's a pretzel necklace.
It's a pretzel necklace.
And I keep telling you, year over year, you should be selling these. You could put a premium on these things.
Everybody wants to. I don't want to sit around on Wednesday before that weekend's beer festival stringing up pretzels.
Well, I don't know about your operation, but you're hiring the wrong people because you need to hire some pretzel stringers.
Do you want to eat pretzels that have been strung by somebody else 3 days ago? I don't.
If I've had 50 samples of beers, do you really think I care?
I'm just telling you. Now I've seen people that put like beef jerky on their string, and they put a little V8 hanging from a little. It's crazy ass. And they've got a whole, they could live for a week.
It's a smorgasbord around their neck.
It is. There's a pickle on there. I think it was a pickle. He offered it to me. I don't know what happened there. Do you want to get to our conversational beer?
I think we could. Do we have a conversational beer?
Well, no, but I mean, you know what I'm saying.
Would you like to get to the beers? Yeah. I tell you what. Let's even do this.
I think I would like to.
Let's bring up the camera for that guy.
Let's bring on our conversation.
Our roadie, as we talked about earlier.
He really did not bring anything in, did he, for us?
He brought his own shit.
He brought a camera. He brought that camera.
He brought his own shit.
All right, he brought his own shit.
That's the mark of a subpar roadie. Did you bring any of our shit?
Not
nope,
his
got
first,
all of mine.
Not his first time on this rodeo. Chris Kendrick, who's joining us now, and he's been our show's photographer.
Yeah. And now bad roadie.
And now bad roadie.
No, I think you were always a bad roadie. We just never talked about it.
Yeah,
could have been. Yeah.
Might be the case. Just a little bass there for you.
Listen to that.
We're still waiting for you to come in and help us with some trombone-ish action.
Still in the room over there.
I'd like you to do that. Thanks for joining us tonight. And,
Pleasure.
And hanging out with us. And thank you for bringing the equipment you did bring. And we don't mean to be assholes. We're just naturally that way.
I'm used to it. If I'm not used to it by now, it's like I wouldn't be here.
I think he's known us for a really long time. But you're really loud. Are you like?
You want to bring him down?
Yeah, can we bring him down just
Sure, yeah.
All right.
Talk to me. Talk to me.
Oh, that's
better. So,
because not only was he a bad roadie, but he also wanted to take over the entire show with his voice.
How do you do with IPAs, India Pale
I really
Ales?
like IPAs.
Well, good, because we're going to have some tonight.
Yeah,
You're enjoying one right now from Logboat, the Snapper. Yep. And this is going to be, we will drink a greater variety of beers tonight than ever before in the podcast.
Yeah, because we did this. You did blind sampling one night. That was what, 5 beers?
Yeah, we're going to do about 10 tonight. And you did the whiskeys,
and I did 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, this could be the most we've ever had. It's not the most we've ever had during a taping, I don't think, because there's some beers before we start. There's some beers after we're done.
Well, like I got this big tall Dale's
what is that?
Pale Ale, and I love the measurement on this thing. It is 1 pint, 3.2 fluid ounces. Which would be 19.2 fluid ounces.
That's math. I'm not doing math while we're drinking.
I'm not sure. Somebody has to tell me what that's all about, and I don't know. We're going to start off. It's going to be your call on the first beer.
All right.
And we're going to pour these, and we're going to start now, if you guys are okay with that.
Sure.
Well,
and
I got
just really take our time.
I got 3 glasses, so I've got 2 of the plastic ones for this weekend.
Sure.
And then I have 1 from last year, which is
give me
glass.
Give me the last year one.
I'm the bad roadie, so I'll take last.
That's a good point.
Here for you, Tom.
Well, I'm going to pour them here.
Oh, you're going to pour them.
I'll just pour them here and then I'll hand
He's
them
in
out.
charge. He's going to serve them up.
Well, it's my house. So
well, I got mine.
Hold
over
on,
here also.
I got to reach back here and let's see let's just pull whatever comes out first.
And with it being Tom's World Beer Tour, a lot of people have thought it needs to be all about beer. It's not about beer. It's about beer helping to bring us together to talk about crap. But tonight is going to be all about beer.
Yeah. So this one in particular. So this was Barbecue Matt. He's been on the show. Yeah. His wife, we call her the Chandra. She's a big IPA fan. So these are actually beers that she bought.
She's big, and I don't think you should
here.
call her big. I think I don't know why you got to single her out like that.
She's a very beautiful woman who's married to one of my closest friends.
She's a lover. She's a lover of IPAs. See how that sounds better?
Your punctuation's in weird spots tonight.
Yeah.
She's a lover of IPAs. It's just odd. This is from Deschutes. Do you know Deschutes?
Yes.
Chris knows Deschutes. So this is Deschutes. It is the Symphonic Chronic West Coast IPA.
All right, let me see the description on this.
I had a Deschutes IPA at Tap and Grill when we were.
I like Tap and Grill. Tap and Grill is one of the many places on Lake of the Ozarks. Those of you that watch Ozarks on Netflix, guess what? None of that shit's filmed at the Lake of the Ozarks. It's filmed in Georgia, as a matter of fact.
So they list this one as series number 1, like 001.
I saw that.
Alcohol is 7.2.
That's pretty good. I'll take it.
Melodious mashup mixing West Coast kettle hopping with East Coast dry hopping. That's dry hopping.
Dry hopping.
Yeah. Dry hopping is like dry humping. But
is that something a rabbit does in the West?
It's only in the air.
So the hops don't totally bloom? What's going on there?
Yeah, you could say that. Because a dry hump is on top of something, but a dry hop is just out by yourself. Just out in the air.
So you can't dry hump yourself is what you're saying?
No, you can't. But you can dry hop yourself.
All right.
I am learning so much tonight.
Like you're never going to come back? Is that what you're learning?
Biotransforming hop aroma and flavor into a bright, skunky, tropical symphony.
That's amazing that they put skunky on the label.
I love it.
Yeah, they did.
All right, so
That way when you smell it, you go, this smells
twist?
skunky. You're like,
It's like, well, yeah, that's what it says.
And
It
it's
says
not
right
a,
here,
it's
skunky.
not a
Smells
twist.
right.
It's not a twist off. I can tell you that.
no, Deschutes is not going to give you a twist. Do you need a bottle opener?
Oh, come on now.
I always carry one.
Who are you talking? I got good.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna start with this Deschutes,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna pour like you would at a beer fest. It's just a little.
Let me explain Beerfest. This is something I learned a long time ago.
Please do.
I said pour them a nice sample. It'd be usually it's about a 4.5 ounce glass, but that's to the top. And I could pour them a nice sample. Don't pour them too much. Do you know what the brewers like to do? Fill it up.
Of course they do.
Because the longer you're drinking their beer, the less likely you are
And,
drinking
and
somebody else's.
explain, not at every
Makes
beer
sense.
fest, but at your particular beer fest, when you walk in, you get a couple things. Someone hands you a sampling glass.
Yeah, yeah.
And they hand you a bottle cap.
Yes.
And
Well, now we hand two now because people could not it's a voting token.
Correct.
And they're like, I walked around for 3 hours, but I couldn't part with it. I was terrified of voting for one and not another. I'm like, then here's two. At least drop one of your
So
votes
is that
while you're
new
walking
this
around.
year? You're gonna have
no,
two?
No, we started that about 3 or 4 years ago.
I don't
So
remember
now
two
we-
last year. Well, it's because I'm
I don't
working.
either.
It's
Yeah.
because I'm
Just
working
one.
the damn event. See,
You were working it.
the problem is when you work the event, you don't know.
It's a different sort
You
of
know.
thing. All
And
right,
by work
let's
the event, I mean we volunteered. So,
melodious yet
cheers.
skunky. Here we go.
Cheers. All
Here's
right.
to our mini
this
beer
is,
fest tonight.
for the Chandra, for the Deschutes.
I'm really just getting some floral action off of there. Here we
I'll
go.
see. This is right up my alley.
It's tasty.
That is a little fruit forward. It's bright. It's not as heavy as a lot of IPAs can be. This reminds
You
me
got
of
some bitters that the
Yeah.
snapper we just finished did not have.
This does remind me of one of my favorite brewers, which is Stone out of
Mhm.
California,
Mhm.
which I really, really like.
Can I say I'm not getting the skunk out of it?
No, I'm not
Yeah,
getting.
you can say that.
But I'm not. I would
Did
say
you
this
say getting or beating? I'm not beating the skunk
Getting.
out of it.
beating whatever.
Is that another beating the skunk?
Yeah, it is.
If you do it too hard,
What'd
it
you do
smells
last
really
night?
bad.
Oh wow! And he just went there, dude. I was beating the skunk.
Or is it?
It
So-
gets better.
wait,
It gets
wait, wait.
better.
We're gonna have to follow up with dry hopping, dry humping, or dry humping. Is that what you
Dry
said?
No,
hopping.
dry hopping.
Dry hopping.
Not to be confused with
Yeah.
dry hopping.
So let me ask you this: so getting the skunk, does that mean you took care of yourself like Pepe Le Pew? You're very nice, like I love you, so much.
What do you mean
la,
took
la.
care of yourself?
I don't know.
Wasn't sure.
How
what
many
happened.
beers have we had so far? One.
Yeah, just one.
Great.
Just one. All right, now I want to
liked
tell
it.
you what I went on in choosing beers. I wanted to find some that would balance out because I know you had a bunch of IPAs.
That's right.
I do have one or two.
All right. Well, let's break mine up with yours.
All right, we're gonna go
I like
to.
that one.
Why not?
All right, let's do this. And most of mine that I brought are going to be at the Missouri Beer Festival this weekend.
For those of you watching, I'm gonna go to Wide Shot for a little bit.
Should go to the wide shot.
Let's Wide Shot it for
Go
a
to the
little
wide
bit.
shot. This is from Boulevard Brewing out of Kansas City, and they have
Okay.
come up with. They've had an unfiltered wheat forever. It's their biggest seller, even though I believe pale ale is where it all began. But their unfiltered wheat, both in bottles and everywhere on tap, people love it. It's an unobtrusive beer. It's nice. It's unfiltered, so it gives it a really great color if it's poured off in a glass. They have come up with the unfiltered wheat 100.
Interesting.
So this is both for summer drinking and for those watching their waistline. And so you're going to have this one to go after. It's the unfiltered wheat 100 from Boulevard.
Oh well, all right. I'm a
All
big
right.
wheat fan.
I am not.
What?
I'm not.
Communist.
Let's see how you feel about this one because you will taste the wheat, especially after you sip it down and you get the olfactory coming back up.
These are horrible pours that I just.
But
did.
it's not going. You're not going to find it to be extreme. So let's see what you feel about this.
All right. I'm gonna line this one up over here.
It's going to be mild in any kind of aroma.
Mm.
You can smell beer, but not much more than that.
Ooh, it's kind of sour.
Yeah, it's kind of sour. Yeah.
I'm getting a little sour off of it.
Well, and remember, we're wrecking our palate going from one to the other, but that's
Well,
what happens at a beer festival.
Once again, I'm a good host. I brought you a bottle of water because
Thank you.
you should cleanse your palate once
Sure
in a
you
while.
should. Of course you should.
Why
So I don't think I could really tell this different from a lager. I mean, I don't. To me, if you put this up against a Baroque or a Bobber, I couldn't tell the difference.
I think there's a couple of things. One, there's going to be a little maltier when it's in your mouth, and then it's the afterwards that you might get a little effect of that wheat. But you said you don't like wheats, and like I said, you're not going to taste much on here.
Yeah.
It's about a 4.0, I think, on that, and 100 calories, and it'll drink all day long in a beer float. And obviously, it's available in cans.
I can see that.
Yeah.
My wife likes wheats a lot.
Did I just call it a beer float?
My wife.
Did I say a beer float?
You did.
Yeah, you did say.
I meant a float trip.
No, but here's the
So
crazy
all
part.
three.
We knew exactly what you were saying.
Right. We're just getting along with that at all.
All right.
Okay.
Aren't they synonymous in Missouri?
It a little bit. It is. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
It was very sour. I'm surprised it was as sour
Really?
as it
Okay.
was.
All right.
Yeah. I would
Anybody
agree.
else pick up on sour?
I did. Yeah.
We're at the beginning.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, let's go
All
to
right.
another one. Let me, because my headphones don't reach as far, I'm just going to reach into whatever's here. I think this is actually left over from an earlier show. This is a Beta.
Yes.
This is a Turbo Dog.
So
Oh,
this
that's
was
good.
not our conversational beer with Sean Kelly, but you bought this with the conversational beer from Abita. You brought
because
this
we
over
did the
too.
Big Easy.
We did the Big Easy because of Sean Kelly, and it was right around St. Patrick's Day, and he lives in New Orleans. So we did the Big Easy from Abita, but you brought some Turbo Dog. I think we might have tailgated with Turbo Dog.
I really like. We probably did. I really like Turbo Dog. It's
Yeah.
a brown ale. It's delicious.
No.
And Abita will be at the beer fest this
Abita's
weekend.
out of where? Are they Louisiana?
Yeah,
They were-
Louisiana. Yeah.
Interesting enough, the first time I had Abita was in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Really?
I liked it a
In
lot.
Salt Lake, you got a real beer?
Yeah.
Look at
It was
that.
crazy. Yeah.
It's always 3-2 beer there.
No, they're you can they've got some. I forgot. We were at a really good Mexican restaurant, and they had a great selection of beer in Salt Lake City. I was
Nice.
surprised.
All right.
It was
Well,
good.
this is, for those of you listening, it's Turbo Dog. It's Abita Brewing out of Louisiana. For those of you on camera, I'll give you a little shot there of the label. Once again, we brought this on because Sean Kelly from ESPN is a good friend of ours, and it was right around St.
Living
Patrick's
down
Day.
Louisiana.
And he wanted a Beta because you could get a Beta here, and he could get a Beta there, of course. And I think we went with the Big Easy.
Give me a little bit more of that
Oh,
Turbo Dog
oh,
now. as I
all right,
appreciate
all right.
the flavor on that beer.
All right.
It really is a great, and it's referred to as a brown ale, which it is, but I've always found it to have a deeper feeling going on there while you're sipping it.
All right.
And,
Cheers, cheers, cheers. I'll just clink them all.
And in fact, if you even look at the color, this is a small glass, and it's a very dark brown.
it's
so
So
nice.
what kind of feelings do you get from a brown ale?
Well, I've read some Edgar Allan Poe, and I think sometimes he spoke of beer, and you can get lost.
Did he
in the-
mention Turbo Dog in
in the,
particular?
you can get lost in the deliriousness of the darkness found here and within.
See, and,
Oh, you're
and
going
I'm
deep.
a big, once again, locally, I like Boone County Brown, a brown ale. I love it on tap. This reminds me of that. This is
Now,
delicious.
and we're moving around through a lot of flavors here.
Yeah.
So to go from that Wheat 100 now to this is very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost right. It's thick on the tongue, right?
Yeah, you get malt off of this for sure.
Mhm.
It's kind of
Isn't
you
it
can
funny
almost
how
chew it.
how some of these things really equate to some form of heaviness? It's like you drink it and you can just it's like there's weight,
Right.
you know.
right.
But how can that be? But
I
there
couldn't
is.
drink this all day.
No,
But I think it's all in the mind.
but
you
yeah,
know?
I mean, but this almost has like a solidness, you know. It's,
Let me see that bottle if you would for just a second.
Of the
there.
Turbo
Kind
Dog.
sir, of the Turbo Dog.
There you go.
The Turbo Dog,
That's good.
inside every dog, there's a Turbo Dog ready to break free.
that's not bad.
No, I like it. I
This
really
very
do.
good dog has a rich, dark color and body with a sweet, chocolate, toffee-like flavor.
There you go.
Turbo Dog is powered by pale caramel and chocolate, malty, and Willamette hops. And this runs, I'm going to guess this is about 6%. It is 5.6.
You still here?
Yeah, I can still hear it again.
Oh, it's been there the whole time. I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, we're fine.
It's been there the entire time.
I mean, it's fine. It's no different than when we throw a speaker out somewhere
Yeah, no, it's fine.
for people to listen. You're good, Chris.
Don't worry about it.
Way too much inside information.
There's a little bit of a delayed audio coming out to our side over here.
Right.
It's not that bad. So I really like this, and having a 6-pack around lasts me a few days because I break it up with other beers, and
I gotta say, so far, Deschutes is my favorite.
yeah.
I'm gonna put these in order as we drank them. So Deschutes for sure, and the wheat. Turbo Dog's pretty good. I really like the Symphonic Chronic
Mm-hmm.
so far.
Let's see how it goes.
That's been
then.
my favorite. So
All
now
right.
from your bag, my friend.
All right, I'm gonna go with.
We need snacks.
I'm gonna
How
go
do I get
with
snacks here? Snacks.
just like that. I'm gonna go with another beer.
No snacks.
Another beer that's gonna be there this weekend. Well, or at least a brewer, New Belgium.
Oh.
And I have a feeling that
A Fury? Were you going to say a Fury?
I have a feeling that the Imperial IPA will not be served this weekend, but I don't know that for sure. But that's Voodoo Ranger from New Belgium.
Oh, come on. You can see this in the grocery store all the time. Great logo. This would be a great.
But they do have a couple that are going to be there this weekend that are part of the Voodoo Ranger series that you've never had.
This
before.
would be a great tattoo. I would totally put this as some ink on my arm.
I agree.
I do like that.
Oh, I'm
Voodoo
sorry.
Ranger
I got
logo.
you. You're back on now.
Yeah, we put you back on.
Fat Tire was, like you said, that was my first foray into craft beer.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I forget what happened, but I happened to find myself in Colorado, or somebody happened to bring a Fat Tire back, and I fell in love. And that was, up to that point, the only beers I'd ever really known were, Budweiser, Bud Light, Coors, all those things. And I had no idea, it's like it just really opened you all up to.
Fat Tire is an amber ale.
Amber ale.
And and think about that as you've gone into the world of things like this. I mean, an Imperial IPA, as you taste this, an amber ale is so much more mild than a lot of the stuff that we'll taste right here tonight. But, that's usually where people find their first footing getting into craft beer.
Right.
Yeah.
It almost got to the point where I would just find beers that were amber ales because I wanted that experience again. I just fell in love with the Fat Tire, and I couldn't, at the time, you just couldn't get it in Missouri, so I was looking for anything that was along that line.
I'll tell you something else about the amber ale of New Belgium, their Fat Tire, and that's that I've never tasted another beer that's exactly like it.
Right.
Now, other ones I will get lost. I mean, if you were to put me under
there
the
was
gun.
Sierra Nevada made a beer that kind of was close to that. I love a Sierra.
It's the granddaddy. Sierra Nevada.
So here we go with
this is good. I like
Imperial IPA from Voodoo Ranger, New Belgium.
I like it. It's crisp.
So the immediate thing is a real quick, clean finish. Yep. And then it has a little more flavor that comes back right
I'll tell you what I get on the aroma, though. I get, this is weird, I get oatmeal. It's not an oatmeal stout, obviously, but I get this kind of oatmeal-y kind of scent off the top.
Now, we're not beer snobs. We're just really getting into the flavor.
No, we're just snobs. We're snobs.
We're snobs. We're just dissecting the flavor. We'll drink any beer that somebody hands us. If it's free, it's even better.
So let me ask. I have two questions for you guys I'd like you to answer.
All right.
The first is the first craft beer you ever had. I think Chris already mentioned it.
I've already told you.
Right? So for me, it was also Sierra Nevada. That's the first craft beer. I didn't know it was a craft beer at the time, but as I think back, Sierra Nevada was probably the first craft beer I ever had. I grew up in California. Sierra Nevada was around, obviously. What's the first, craft beer that you had?
Well, I may have had a Michelob Dark before
Would you consider that a craft beer?
Well, no, I don't know. But, I'm going back a long, long way.
I don't know that
and
that's
before they came out and started. Either they changed the recipe or changed the name to Amberbach.
Right.
So the first one I can remember that was a craft beer would probably have to be Anchor Steam out of San Francisco.
Which, by the way, in San Francisco, not only is Anchor Steam a great beer, but the Anchor Bar that serves Anchor Steam is an amazing place to go as well.
I would love to be out there and visit that. But that was one of the first, and I've had several more from the brewery out there. Was it Liberty Brewing?
Okay.
Well, they make a Liberty Ale, right?
You got me. I have no idea.
But that was the first one that I had.
All right.
But that was still very, very mild into what would eventually happen. And remember, we didn't have craft brewers all over the place at the time.
No, you didn't even have color back then. So Jesus.
No, that's just it. I mean, beer was just simply this.
Can you rinse that one also?
Yeah, of course I could. Would you guys allow me to rinse your glasses? Since This is a full service bar. This is not one of those dry bars. This is like a full service.
This is really
wet
a hell
bar.
of a beer fest.
I'm here to help you, man.
Leading up to this.
So, all right. So here's the second part of that question: is what's the first beer that you ever got completely hammered on, and how old were you?
Ooh. Completely hammered on. Well, I'm sure it was a Busch beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was Little King's Cream Ale at some point. But I was mixing that with other bad things. I would say probably Busch.
All right. Yeah. Chris.
It was probably something really bad like Schaefer's.
Schaefer's.
Yeah.
And
that's good time.
I think you could pick up a pallet of that for $2.99.
Well, that's kind of that was the, at the time it's like we were just.
And how old were you roughly?
Oh, I was probably 18 or.
And we're not, of course, we're not promoting early drinking. This is an explicit,
but no, I mean,
rated podcast.
The first time I could tell you, the first time I tell you that I really really appreciated beer, it was a day like today. I grew up on a farm, and so this time of year, Christy and I, my wife and I, were driving to Fulton to get some pizza, and I saw people hauling hay. And I was like, "Yep, today's the day when you're hauling hay.
Yeah.
And today's the day when you start hauling about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. Because these long summer days, you make hay." And
I mean,
so,
I totally understand because I remember coming home from school in Northern California and I had to pull the weeds. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. I had to go out and
It's
spend
almost
half an hour
it's
pulling
almost the
weeds.
same thing.
Is that not the same thing? No,
no,
not at all.
no. You after you throw the hay up onto the truck, then you go to the barn, and then you go up into the top loft of the barn, and that's where you get to go up in the top loft of the barn, and you take the bales off the conveyor, and you have to stack it back in the back part of the barn. So by the time that night over, I mean, you are just soaked and drenched. I mean, you're drenched in sweat. And I think that was the first time I had like a Bud Light when we were done. And that thing never tasted so good.
Yeah,
I still contest 20 feet of pulling weeds out of a planter bed. Is the same thing. So I'm just telling you.
I've only done it, Chris, one day, and I was 14, and the two oldest brothers, there were about 6 brothers in this farming family, and my brother Michael and I were working with them, so we had 8 of us working the field.
Yeah.
And the two oldest said, "Okay, you guys keep it up. We're going to go on a beer run." And I really wasn't. Today I'd get excited. I would stop working, like, the beer's coming. I'll stop working. And when they brought the beer back, we were finishing up with that last load, and they said, "Okay, guys, let's go." 14, I had 2 beers riding the hay back to the barn.
Yeah.
And
I was probably about that age, 15, 16 or something like that.
And those were Budweiser. And so I was drinking Budweiser as we got back there, and then we had to still get it up into the loft.
Yeah.
And then went inside and had a great dinner with iced tea. So that was all the beer that night. Okay, we're going to...
well, I win because I was stupid at like 11 or 12, and we got our older cousin to go get us, me and my other cousin, some beer.
Yeah.
Schlitz malt liquor.
There you go. That's nice.
Don't let
How
the
about
smooth
that?
taste fool you, Billy D.
Wow.
Ooh, yeah. Sick.
Watch out for the bull,
Sick.
is what they said.
Really sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
When you're
I
like
don't know.
11 and you chug down a Schlitz malt liquor, oh, yeah, that's good.
There was something about that thing that also rhymes with Schlitz, that people had some bowel issues.
I mean, at 11, everybody has a shits at 11.
It just
Let me look
happens.
right into the camera and remind my mother, I was 11 when I had that beer.
So don't complain, because he's
Too
telling
late
you right
now.
now.
52.
Okay, we're breaking up everything with the IPAs with some other stuff. O'Fallon Brewing out of St. Louis will be at the beer festival this weekend.
Okay.
So I grabbed one of the things, and I think we're going to be drinking this Riverside on the Missouri River at Cooper's Landing. O'Fallon, and a lot of people know this one.
got it?
The O'Fallon Wheat. Now, you said you don't like wheat beers.
I haven't had this one.
This is their wheat peach beer.
It's a horrible insult. You're such a weech. It doesn't
Such
work.
a wheat.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would be like, "I don't do fruit in my beer," which I understand. This has been a big mainstay for them for
Those
years.
people are morons. Try a delicious fruit-forward grapefruit IPA. It's amazing.
Yeah,
There
but that's
is
different
a-
than having grapefruit in your IPA that only tastes like it.
There's a brewery in Kansas City, Crane. Have you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they make some fantastic sours. I never thought I'd like sours, but I went to their brewery a couple times and sampled sours there, and those are really good.
I always think I'm going to like a sour, and 98% of them I've not liked. And then last week I found one from Boulevard, Tiki Slam.
I can't find that yet.
I think you're
I've
going to
been-
find it at the beer festival. This
I
weekend.
could drink this all day.
Really?
I could drink this all day. This
like
to me, this is a barbecue beer. I could drink this all day.
This is along the lines of your Nanner days.
Doesn't this
Yes.
taste a little bit like it's got a Blue Moon thing going on through there?
Actually, the more I taste it, the more it tastes like it's got a cotton candy thing going on in it, to be honest with you.
That's really refreshing, though. It'll go down the summertime very well.
Because once again, as we get ready to go to the next beer, let's talk about that. It's nice to go have a nice craft beer. You come home, you have a lot of craft beer at your house. Chris, you have craft beers at your house. People bring craft beers and leave them at my house while I'm drinking brown liquor. But at the end of the day, there's certain beers you can have 1 or 2, some of these IPAs that we like. And then there's the beer that you drink on a float trip, barbecuing all day.
Right.
And for me, unfortunately, it's Natter Days, right? So that's actually a beer that, believe it or not, won Beer Fest 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Was Natter Days.
It is 2? Is it
It
2
was
years?
2 years ago.
2019 it won. It is the moped of beers. It's fun to drink till your friends see you.
Mm-hmm.
You can just drink it all. It's natty light infused with strawberry lemonade. I'm
So
not
you
turning in my man
are
card for it.
enjoying it.
Listen, if I'm going to be outside for
You're
6,
mowing
7
the grass.
hours,
You're working out there.
you're working outside. It's 80, 90 degrees. It's really, really hot. It's an easy drink. I can drink, 10, 12 over the course of the afternoon.
You know,
it's not a problem.
I'm a real water consumer when I'm out there working the yard. So I've got water out there with me the whole time. I might take a break and have a beer and then keep pounding water and going through it. I don't really enjoy a lot of beer until I finish all my work outside because I know I'm sweating it out of me if I'm working.
Right.
If it's float trip or I'm sitting out in the patio.
That's what I mean. A float trip beer or a barbecue beer. Or,
that
hey,
one
I'm running the smoker.
that'll actually drink throughout the day, and that's you're by the smoker, a little bit of shade, a little bit of heat, and you got to have something that can work. Yeah, absolutely. When I like a Scotch ale is going to be on a cold winter night. I mean, a Scotch ale with that deep, hearty. Oh, it's very good.
Well, that Goose Island Bourbon County that I have, I'm not bringing that out tonight because
right.
I mean, I can open a gigantic beer for us while we're doing a little.
That stuff is great during cold weather.
Great cold weather around the holidays.
Yeah.
Instead of a cocktail, I'm gonna pour that.
But you can't have that outside.
Do you keep it that cold, or do you let it kind of come to room
temperature?
temperature?
No, I like it cold.
You like it cold?
Oh, I'll let it go sit out. Actually,
I think
go
I
on a
kind of
beer
like it
run.
a little warmer.
I do. A lot of the pale ales and IPAs, even an IPA, I'll just let it sit on the counter. I'll come home with 2 6-packs, and they're sitting out for an hour. And Deb will come in and be like, "Do you want to put these away?"
Oh.
And I'm on my second beer, and I go, "I don't care." 47, 53, 58 degrees. That's still chilly beer when you're drinking that kind of stuff. Now, when you drink a lager, you generally want that to be ice cold.
Yeah.
It just works, man. It just really comes through. All right, your turn again now. I guess we're going back to an IPA.
Well, I don't know. I'm gonna.
I'd say we're about half through the beers.
tonight. Oh no! I have something that you brought on our motorcycle trip.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Okay.
We took a nice trip on Saturday down to the Lake of the Ozarks. There was 4 of us. Chris, of course, yourself, myself, and Jim.
Backdoor man.
How could we? The backdoor man.
He behaved himself mostly.
That's because he had a guest. He had a guest
he
with
was
him.
2 up. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a guest with him. So when he's solo, he's very different than when he has a guest. Although the guest knew us all very well. So this is from local. This is Logboat, a Deer Diver Pale Ale.
So
That's a good one.
I saw these, and I was trying to find something in regular 12-ounce cans, and that had some flavor. And this is one of the few. It's a pale ale as opposed to an IPA, and there's nothing wrong with a pale ale. Actually, I love some pale ales out there. An IPA were pale ales they were shipping out to India from England, but they were putting extra hops in it to survive the train ride out through the heat.
Right.
And so it became known as an India Pale Ale. But London, this is all they were drinking were pale ales all over the place. On its own, it's not like a junior IPA. It was the thing, and IPA was the different one, the weird kid. And so pale ales is always great to go back to those. As I mentioned earlier with Boulevard, that was their first, was the pale ale. Yeah.
So these are what you typically would see in a London pub, things like that.
Yeah, and it'll probably get a little darker than this
So
one
when you
looks
drink
over
one
here.
of these, do you feel like watching soccer and punching somebody in the face? How does that work?
Yeah. Paint your face.
Getting on a
punch your
2-story
face.
bus?
Yeah, you've got different flavors up forward on the front. And what's going to happen with the olfactory? A pale ale, you could easily put into a full pint size and drink 6 of them and then have your buddy take you home that night.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you want your buddy to take you home.
That's
That came out
That's
wrong.
not how that works.
If you drink 12 of them, he'd take you home and you wouldn't know it. You know what I'm saying.
No, I'd like you to elaborate.
No, I think
I need to play that Genesis song right now. Take us home. Whatever.
Take me home.
Take me home.
I really like the flavor of this.
No, it's delicious.
Yeah, they really knocked it out of the park on this one.
One of the things that happens when you're beer sampling, when you're doing, these are probably like 2-ounce pours we're having today. When you're beer sampling, is it the beer you want to have a full 12-ounce or a full 16-ounce pour on? You got to think about that also. Are you enjoying this one? I'm immediately wanting a full pint on.
Right.
It's
Snapper's
nice.
one that I can do one, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Well,
and
and then
when we go out and ride, like we went out and rode 2
Right.
weeks ago. He was not with us, but Snapper off the tap,
Right.
1. That's all I need.
and that's all I can do. I mean, because the second one then starts to, it just tastes different. It just starts to, it's not a, an alcohol content thing. It's just, it'll just start affecting me. That it's like I just get this taste or this, this.
But that's almost always why I jump from one beer to a different one immediately following it. Snapper's a great beer.
It is.
But
I love
I've
it.
never sat around and had 6 of those things straight.
I can't.
Oh God,
No, I
I'd have
can't.
to take a nap.
But this is really good.
No,
But this one I can do a couple of. And
Deer Diver. I wonder where they got that name from.
I don't know.
Deer Diver.
They've got some strange
Because
names.
it's deer,
in their lineup.
D-E-E-R.
Yes.
Like a deer.
Yes.
Not like Deer Diary.
And it's not deer swimmer. I've never seen a deer dive, but I have seen them swim. So I saw one swimming across the Missouri River last week, as a matter of fact.
Deer swimmer.
Yeah, so that should be coming up next. Is it my turn then?
I believe it's your turn now.
God, we still have
How
a lot
many have
to
we
get
drank?
through.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've had 6.
do we have a new favorite?
Okay.
I'm still
still like
on
the
Deschutes.
Deschutes?
I'm still on Deschutes.
See what
I
I've
think
got
I could
for
do
you
the
here.
Weech. I really like the Weech. You know, Voodoo Ranger is a great beer. I do
For me,
like
it's-
Deer Diver.
For me, it's Voodoo Ranger or Deer Diver.
I
So-
did not realize I was going to be bringing 3 wheats to the table, but here's a 4.2 alcohol ale. It is a wheat ale. It's the 312 from Goose Island, and Goose Island will
Oh,
be,
I
will
do
be
like-
featured at the beer
Do you
fest
like
also.
Goose Island? You know, the more we drink these beers, the more people's secrets come out. So let's go to the next secret. No,
What's the next secret?
don't know yet. What I like about this show is the more we drink, by the end of the show, it's a very different show. The first 10 minutes of the show, the middle
Well, I guess
15
to a
minutes of the
little
show,
bit, yeah,
and the last
yeah.
10 minutes of the show are very different.
I don't
shows.
know. I got that dry hopping in there pretty quick.
That's just normal conversation that we have. And
Well,
I beat my skunk. Is that what we said?
Beat the skunk out of it.
Yeah.
Beat the skunk.
You know
out
the
of it.
title of the podcast.
Well, and then we
tonight
had, the
is-
Thursday morning it's there.
Yeah, you know
That's right.
Thursday morning.
Thursday
6
morning.
You know the
It's
title
Thursday-
of tonight's
Thursday
podcast
morning
is
it's going to be there.
Is going to be dry hopping.
Yeah, dry hopping.
Dry hopping will be what we call
Dry
today's
hopping
show.
Thursday morning.
Yeah. Did you notice?
All
Do
right.
I get any credit for naming last week's show? We had Chris on with his drone.
Yeah.
And we had Richard King, who was responsible
It was
for
a good title.
a great venue, right?
Yeah.
It was a good title.
The Beat Drones On. That's
No,
a,
I think that was good.
that's
was a
a
good
great
title.
title.
I was
It
still
was.
enjoying the how hard is your soft water or something like that.
Does your wife think your water's too soft?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially late at night if you're a 6:20
Well,
a.m.
we also
yeah, 6:20 in the morning. It's like, no,
yeah.
it's hard.
Oh, I
How
got
are you
hard
at
water
11?
every
How are
morning.
you at 11:15
Hard water.
at night?
My water gets softer
Oh,
throughout
that's
the day.
Soft
Is that what we're
water.
talking about?
That is soft water.
So it's soft water at 11:15
Oh,
p.m. and it's
yeah.
hard water at 6:20
hard water
a.m.?
every morning.
All right. So what is this? I'm
Do you
sorry.
call
This is-
Culligan for that?
This is so yeah. Don't ever fuck with my hard water in the morning. This is a wheat beer. It's the 312 from Goose Island.
Nope.
Quick finish. It's just like disappears. Are you tasting the wheat on this one?
Yeah.
And you're not liking it.
Nope. Yeah.
That's the thing about beer. You're not supposed to like them all. You got to find the ones you do and do not like.
Yeah, certain wheats I like. I mean,
I'm still tasting the wheat. I don't dislike it. The
it's
wheat-
weird. So what
Well,
makes this different from a Hefeweizen?
Well, I guess that's just it. It's not that I don't
The strain
like
of
it.
yeast?
It just doesn't do anything for me. I mean, this is no different than just a lager or a pilsner or something. I mean, it just it's just
This
know.
is going to drink clean, though, in the summertime.
Right, but a Hefeweizen is a wheat beer,
Mm-hmm.
and this is known as something wheat. I just would like, because I like Hefeweizens. We know
I think
this.
it's going to be the strain of the yeast that they use. It's going to be the difference between those two. I like the clean finish on this.
I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I would not.
It's not your go-to. You don't have to explain it. It's
yeah,
all right.
I'll drink it if somebody gives it to me. I'll drink it, but it's not something I would go.
I mean, it's free beer. I mean, we'll take
Some
it.
people that don't like, for instance, bitter beer, they get to a porter and like, oh my God, I love it. Yeah, it's
Right.
sweet. It's very. And other people get to a porter and they go, what am I doing? Drinking chocolate syrup? I know. I got you.
Well, Christy says the same thing. I'll drink dark. I'm drinking dark matter right now. And she's like, no, I don't want any of that.
Yeah.
So she's drinking Hefeweizen. In fact, she's on to Sudwerks.
Sudwerks.
She loves that Hefeweizen.
I think
Yeah,
Sudwerks
it's
is
good.
the sponsor of your shuttle,
They're running the shuttle this weekend for the beer festival.
which is
So-
weird because once again, a beer that is brewed in Davis, California, where I will be next week. In fact, I need to go over there and see those guys and say thank you. But available in California, Nevada, and Missouri.
It's
Those
so
three
weird.
states. It's
Well,
so strange.
and I got to tell you this thing I heard today, and I'll take it as gospel, and that's that the name of the beer that we're sampling this weekend is called Davis to Boonville.
No kidding.
Wow, I
But-
like that. That's a long haul, by the way.
Wait a second. I am to understand it may have been named from Davis to Boonville, California,
Hmm.
but it works for us in central Missouri because we have a
Yeah.
Boonville here as well. Now, that's what I was told. I haven't checked into it, but
I,
yeah.
I really want to go see those guys because, University of California, Davis has a winemaking program, and they have the Mondavi Center. And then they also have a beer program, and Sudwerks is part of that for students who are learning to go into the world of beer brewing.
I'm so happy for this episode, for the people that have bitched about the fact that we're not all focused on beer. All right. We'll focus on beer, 6:20 Thursday mornings, and if your water's hard, and dry hopping.
Why isn't this called Tom's World Pizza Tour, though? Because I could really use a slice right now.
You really need something here to cut into this. This is when you want that pretzel necklace, like you were talking about.
Or fire up my pizza oven, but it takes.
Yeah, why doesn't somebody wear a piece of pizza around their neck for the beer?
It's a great idea.
I don't know, because they're lazy.
What's next?
Get a big.
Oh, should I dig?
It's your turn.
All right, let me.
Look at the dead soldiers lining up over there.
Yeah.
Now listen.
That's impressive.
None of the beers have been killed.
No.
So when we finish,
we have to go drink them.
No, well, you can take your pick on which one you want to finish.
Yeah. No weeds for me.
No, we
I know you don't want to.
We got to get some food though.
But you're looking over there.
All right,
you want that Voodoo Ranger, don't
I'll
you?
do the Voodoo Ranger. Yeah, I'll finish that.
I see.
That's the same beer.
You had one more, didn't you?
I do.
IPAs?
I have another Deschutes.
All right, another Deschutes IPA.
Once again, the wonderful the Chandra, as we call her. These were beers that she purchased while she was out here, and this is what I like about good house guests. They go and they buy delicious beer, and then they leave it at my house.
Yeah,
it's very, very nice. Like they bring something.
Yeah.
Except bad roadies.
That's not true. You brought an entire tray.
I wasn't going to bring that
tiramisu
up.
to my house.
I was not going to bring that
for
up.
Memorial Day. So
I was not going to bring that up.
You have good.
I have brought 2 trays.
That's true.
Did you make it?
No,
hell no.
Where did you get it?
I have a niece who works at the steakhouse here in town, and she makes that.
And so she brings it to you? Here's
I have an in. I have
a tray or 2 of tiramisu.
In fact, not only does he have an in, but that week she wasn't working at the restaurant. I went to the restaurant that week and had steaks, and that was not part of the dessert menu that night. But yet it showed up at my house that Saturday.
This is the
that.
Fresh Haze IPA from Deschutes.
It's a hazy. So for those of you that are listening on the podcast, you can tell a hazy IPA because once again you can't. It looks like unfiltered apple juice to some degree.
So it's intensely juicy. Irresistible hazy.
That was your nickname in high school, I think.
Freshly squeezed. No fruit was harmed in the making of this beer.
So I'm holding this up. For those of you that are watching, that's a hazy IPA.
I'm getting a lot of orange out of
It looks like unfiltered apple juice.
So according to the label, though, it would mean that they did not touch a fruit. This is all from the ingredients otherwise of beer.
Oh, I like that. That
might be my new favorite.
I like a hazy IPA.
Boy, that's amazing.
Like we had that 420. Remember the 420 hazy IPA we had? I don't know how many shows ago that was.
I almost picked it up today.
By the way, for today's checklist of conversational beers that I keep so we don't lose track, I'm just going to put lots.
Yeah, well, none of these count as the conversational beer.
No. This one could.
This is really good.
You know what I think though? When we're all done, I think we should pick one of these to be the quote unquote conversational beer, meaning it stood ahead.
I think we're all in agreement on this.
We're on this one.
So far, this is the winner.
Here's one of the things that happens with the wrecking your palate and about the switching beers as you're enjoying.
That's
even a full
good.
pint followed by a different beer is some beers are really, really good on their own, but it depends what you just finished drinking.
Oh, you need more?
No, I just want to see the bottle.
Yeah, he wants more. He wants the whole damn bottle.
God, it's good. Good job, Chandra, because I know she listens to the podcast. So far, both bottles of Deschutes came from her.
That's really good.
And she did a fine job.
I like that one a lot.
You might need to give mine a rinse after that because I just think it'll be the right thing to do.
All right.
All right. I've got 2 more over here. Do you still have another one on your end?
Oh, I'm sure I do.
Okay. We're going to go to another beer that will be sampled this weekend at the Missouri Beer Festival, and that is from Piney River. We've had it before.
The big Piney River.
But I wanted to have something to balance out with all the IPAs that Mr. Tom Bowman was going to have.
The Big Piney, which is down by the Devil's Elbow.
And that's the black walnut wheat.
Oh, I've had this before.
And
this is a delicious beer.
It is a delicious beer. Those black walnuts are harvested wild here in Missouri. And what's interesting is they take their wheat beer and then they add black walnuts to it. That's all they do. That sit in the brew for a couple of weeks. Then they go ahead and bottle it and ship it off. That's it.
Nice.
And the flavor that comes through is pretty damn fine.
There you go.
And if you're gonna go from an IPA to another IPA, you got to put a cleanser in the middle. You've got to, otherwise something's gonna knock you wrong, and you'd be like, I hate that second beer. It's like, no, you would have hated any second beer with those 2 being, transverse. So, what do you think?
It's interesting. I have had this beer early during a beer fest, and now that I've had it after a lot of other beers, it's a different taste than I remember it being.
Your palate has been wrecked.
Probably. But I'll tell you what, black walnuts remind me of a young childhood story. Ready?
Sure.
When I was a kid, I grew up in Yuppieville, Northern California, in 2 master planned little communities, right?
Pulling weeds.
Pulling weeds on the 20-yard, on a 20-foot.
Now, are we talking unwanted plants or other kind of?
Yeah.
Unwanted plants.
Go out and harvest our weed, boy. We got to sell some doobies.
What we used to do in the summer when we were like 8, 9, 10 years old, there was a creek that ran between the 2 neighborhoods, the 2 rival neighborhoods. So in the morning, you would go out there. Everybody was friends. We all had different tree houses, but it was lined with walnut trees. And we would go out there in the time of the year where the walnuts were still in the green husks.
Sure.
And we were all friends, and you would just gather up as many as you could, and you'd stick them in your tree forts or in different parts along the creek, and then you'd go home for lunch. When you came back from lunch, it was neighborhood against neighborhood, throwing walnuts at each other.
You trying to hit each other in the head.
Nice.
Wherever we could. Didn't matter. Head,
and it
leg.
would leave a mark.
It would, because it was in the green husk.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like almost like a tennis ball.
You guys were so mean to each other.
Yeah.
When you say rival neighborhoods, like which neighborhood had the best bikes or pools?
Arbor. So here's what happened. So Lewis Homes was the neighborhood I lived in Vacaville,
You don't
California.
have rival neighborhoods when one of them's called
we
Lewis
did.
Homes.
Lewis Homes. And the other one that was the newer neighborhood with like fancier houses, and it was called Arbor Oaks. And so you had Lewis Homes and Arbor Oaks.
They thought they were cool.
They all thought they were cool. They were all dicks.
Yeah, they were.
Some of them listen to this podcast. Hey,
Yeah,
you
they
were
were.
dicks. They
still
friends
are.
of mine. And guess what? You're still
You're
dicks.
from Arbor Woods. What the hell's wrong with you, man? You're
Arbor,
not from
Arbor Oaks.
Arbor Oaks. Arbor Woods, Arbor Oaks. It's the
I
same
throw a
thing.
walnut at you, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to see some of those guys.
Where
in
were you
about
from
5
again? You're
days.
from where?
Vacaville, California.
No. What was your neighborhood?
Lewis Homes. So
Lewis Holmes was a boxer.
Lewis, yeah. Well, no, it was LEWS. It was the name of a builder. It was
Tell
like
you what,
very
I'll tell you
uncreative.
what, Saturday
name.
night, I'm taking down Arbor Woods. Is I get Arbor Oaks? Is it Arbor Oaks?
Arbor Oaks.
I give him one of these. It's just a little tattoo from Lewis Holmes. You know who I am.
Yeah,
Got a walnut with your name on it, buddy.
in your mind, it's LOUIS.
Of course, it's
different. No, it doesn't matter.
Of course, it's different than I've got a nut with your name on it.
He did that now.
I know he did.
I didn't do it. Thank you, Chris, the photographer / roadie.
Bad roadie.
I liked
I like that.
the black walnut
It's a
wheat.
wheat,
A
right?
nut with your name on it? Really?
So they have their wheat, and all they do to change the formula is add the black walnut and let it sit for
Man,
a while,
that's good.
and then drain it off into the cans, and it's amazing.
I never would imagine that being a wheat beer. So
it's
pretty
very, very good. Okay,
How many we got left?
so you've got to do one more, and then I've got one more, and then how's our timing?
Yeah, we're right about an hour. We're doing good.
All right, so we'll do these 2, and then we'll call it.
All right, let's.
And we have to select which beer we want to leave. Who do you want to leave the dance with?
I already
Okay.
know.
Oh, I already know too. I'm
All
already
right,
good, but
yeah.
here we go.
You got
Let's
your
see.
partner picked out.
So this is Inversion IPA.
Okay.
This one just randomly comes out of my fridge. I don't know how it got in my fridge. This is also Deschutes.
Yeah, you have 3 Deschutes IPAs.
3 Deschutes IPAs. Thanks, Chandra. Good job.
Yeah, thank you.
She clearly is the one that bought these.
All right, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Pour this thing off. Let's see the color on it.
Oh, a little amber color.
Yeah, that's a nice amber color.
It's very nice.
You've piqued my interest. All right.
All right, there we go. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad all 3 of us like IPAs because we have a lot of them going tonight. I knew
tend
with
to-
all of them that I
So
would have to break it
I
up.
tend to drink IPA.
What is this beer? I mean, you said Deschutes, but
you go.
I mean, is it a?
Why don't you read it to us?
I can't have my
Chris?
glasses on, so somebody else has to read.
So it's an IPA, India Pale Ale. Ideal for higher elevation.
It is not a fruit-forward type Stone or other IPAs. It's got a little more body to it.
There's a lot of flavory things happening there.
This to me feels like a traditional IPA. What people would consider an IPA.
I think you might be right about that. I can see some people liking this and some people not.
There are plenty of people when you say I like IPAs and they go, Ooh, skunky beer. Yeah, a traditional IPA like this
I think you're
has
right.
a skunky characteristic.
I think there is a traditional flavor with this of IPA.
Yeah, skunky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you beat your skunk today?
Did you beat your
There you go.
skunk out today?
Yeah.
What are you thinking of this one?
That's an IPA. That's a
Yeah.
solid IPA.
Yeah, if you were blind tasting and someone put this in front of you, you would know this is an IPA.
Yeah. Well,
No
it's
doubt.
changed so much over the 10 years with the new IPAs in America that have come out. We've almost started to lose that feel for what was a traditional deep, dark pale ale out of England that was then, was upped on the hops to be sent to India and then become an IPA.
Right.
Is that where
And
all
so-
hopped up comes from?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
All hopped up? I'm
I
all
have no
hopped
idea.
up.
I'm all hopped up means you've got a lot of beer, or means somebody did some dry hopping on you. Again, dry hopping cannot include another person. It's by yourself. Dry humping is at least a piece of furniture, if not another person.
So what time of day does that happen?
You're not allowed anywhere near my sectional, for God's sake.
It's not me. It's not me. It's your dog.
So not at 6:20 in the morning.
Well,
obviously.
I would keep me away
How
from
much
that.
dry hopping are you doing at
Is that your
6:20?
sectional?
No, that's my neighbor's sectional.
That's nice.
5 feet away from
That's
you in my
that's
house.
a nice sectional. That is a nice. I'd like to visit that
That-
section.
You
That's
guys
got-
playing
That's
cards?
got dry hopping all over it.
Dry
Oh,
hopping
God,
all
no.
over.
Don't say it like that.
You might want to get a cleaning service to take care of that.
I can rinse that for you if you'd like.
All right, now we're gonna
No,
get
the,
really
the water kind of
we're
helps.
gonna get really weird from you from Kansas City and from Boulevard
Is this
Brewing.
the final beer?
This is gonna be Quirk. It's a spiked sparkling strawberry,
Wait,
lemon,
I
and
had
basil.
a whole refrigerator full of quirks. I thought if I bring a quirk out, I have
I
another
decided-
beer.
Is that a beer?
I have an
though?
actual
Is that a
beer.
beer though?
I
No,
have
it's-
another beer.
It's
if you'd
probably
like.
no. I already said we're doing this, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. That's an interesting question.
I mean, do you need it? Does a tampon
It's a
go
seltzer,
with that?
right? Oh, jeez.
this is that was not a nice thing to ask. I don't think this does qualify as a beer.
It's
It's a
not.
seltzer, right?
Doesn't matter.
It's an
gotta-
alcoholic seltzer.
These wind up at beer tastings.
I don't
and
want that
so-
in my glass.
Yeah. You're gonna drink it. You're
no,
gonna drink it.
no,
You drink it.
no. In
Real
protest.
men.
No,
Real men get quirky.
no. Real men drink Natter Days, not quirk. All right, I guess I have to drink it.
That is here.
I guess it ain't White Claw. That could
It
have been
is.
worse.
I had this the other day.
God,
I
it even
think.
pours weird.
It doesn't pour.
It looks
weird.
like water, for God's sakes. That's water.
Get in there and get yourself a taste of that.
Freaking seltzer. But I do have an entire refrigerator full of this.
This is what we should be drinking between the
Wow,
beers.
that thing it gets you back here in your sour spot.
What flavor is this one?
I read it to you: strawberry, lemon, and basil.
No.
So why is it this? This is a cider then, right?
No, it's a seltzer.
I think it's a seltzer.
But how is this different than like Waves cider or anything like that? I mean,
Waves is
that's
made from
kind of the same
apples.
thing.
I don't
Fermented
know.
apples.
I seriously do not know.
Because that's immediately what I think
This is
of.
all this is a modern Zima.
I think it is. I think it is. I don't know that there's any beer brewing process.
Like
to
I'm
make
missing
this.
parachute pants and everything else that goes with my Zima.
Bring the can back over here. Let me read the ingredients again. See, let me show you. This is not a beer,
No, it's a seltzer.
but a brewing
But
company is
you're
putting
right.
it out,
It's,
and a
it's
lot
like,
of people
it's like
are
drinking
enjoying
a
it.
sweet tart.
It's like White Claw or Truly. There's Truly's in there.
Ingredients: carbonated water,
It's a liquid sweet tart.
When the first ingredient
alcohol from sugar. Well, that's like rum, isn't it?
yeah, but when the
But is
first
there any-
ingredient is water,
Okay, but beer needs barley or wheat, right?
right?
Is
It
there
needs grains.
It needs,
And
are
it
there
needs
any
hops.
grains? Are there any grains?
There's
in
no
that?
grains in here at all. This is not a grain-made product. So it's alcohol from sugar, all with natural flavor, and then lemon juice. Thank God it's plastic. Thank God it's plastic. If you just heard that, that was Tom Bowman dropping. Did you throw it down because you were disgusted by the whole idea of it?
I might have cracked it. Good job on the last beer
There you go.
or whatever
That's,
this
that's
is.
a wrap.
All right, but wait a second. You got to make your choice.
Oh, I'm going.
Who are you
with-
going to take home from the dance tonight?
Well, it ain't gonna be this.
That's fine. That's
Jesus
fine.
Christ. It's not gonna be that. I will tell you exactly what it's gonna be for
It's
me.
going to be. What'd you pick out?
This was the traditional one. What was the? No, it was the first one for me.
You liked the first one.
Yeah.
It's an IPA.
For me, it's the Symphonic Chronic IPA from Deschutes. This
Yeah.
is my choice. as the best of the evening. It was the first one. My palate was fresh. Something about drinking a beer. First of all, long neck.
Yeah.
Nice bottle. So I can hold it up here and my beer won't get warm. And Symphonic Chronic.
He's
it
so
kinda
damn
fits.
particular.
I know. All right, so that's mine.
You talk Metro. I mean, this guy is just all the way through. All right, Chris, what's it going to be?
Guy shaves his balls one time and he's fucking Metro.
What was the other dish you'd say?
This was the one that was a traditional IPA.
Yes, that's mine.
So Chris also choosing a Deschutes. The what did we call this one? This was Fresh Haze IPA.
You
I
sure?
did
Wait,
like
wait,
this
wait a
one.
second. You said traditional. It was the next IPA, the
You're right.
inversion.
Correct.
I'm not trying to tell you which one.
No,
it
no,
is.
No, I like that
You
one.
like the
he's right.
hazy.
Yeah.
This is the hazy.
The hazy,
No.
fresh squeezed, and it said no fruit was harmed in the making of this
right.
product. So that's yours. It's an IPA, very hazy,
Right.
fruity.
Our friends from Deschutes.
And you know what I'd like to do? Are you going to hand that to him? What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
There you
man?
go. I'm
Give him his
sorry.
damn beer. He says he wants that, and then you turn around with it. That's who he's taking home from the dance. I would like to take home the Deer Diver.
There you go.
Oh, I can give you that.
That is the pale ale, and I just don't. I don't get many pale ale
I
opportunities
find it
anymore.
interesting that we all three picked a different beer.
And happily,
Very much so.
cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. This is like
So,
people choosing people to spend their life.
As we
with.
enjoy this, let me give you a little programming information. There
Yeah.
will not be an actual Tom's World Beer Tour show next week
Thank you.
because I'm going to Cali
Mm-hmm.
to hang out with Barbecue Matt
And pull weeds.
and pull. Well, I don't know
You,
about pulling
got to
weeds.
pull weeds out there.
If by pulling weeds you mean pull a gummy out, that's about how it goes right now.
Pulling gummy out.
That's
My, how things have changed. Now you're going to be in California, and we just think it's a good week to
But
take
I
a
will
week
tell
off.
you that take a look at the Facebook page because I think you're going to see little pop-up videos throughout the week.
You might see all kinds of things
All
pop. I mean,
Good
some
show, man.
Dry hopping.
At 6:20.
It's 6:20 in the morning. Some dry hopping.
I mean, I can go at 6:20, 4:30, 8:15.
We're
Now
bragging.
he's bragging. Now he's bragging. Some of us need to dry hop when we know we're able, and we just need to keep it within reason on that thing. Cheers,
Hey,
you
who's
guys.
cleaning all this shit up?
You're gonna clean this
Yes,
crap
it's
up.
me.
Cheers. Thank you.
Bad roadie.
This has been a podcast story. Tom's World Beer Tour. For future episodes, download and subscribe where you get your podcast, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeart, and Amazon Music. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Or send us an email at tomsworldbeertour@gmail.com. All content property of Tom's World Beer Tour, copyright 2021. No beer was harmed during this production. Only consumed.